Hello, everyone. Incredible greetings. Incredible afternoon. Incredible afternoon. Actually, I put 30 minutes, not really going to be 30 minutes. I have a one-on-one session. But I had some questions that was asked of me. And although, you know, technically I'm not supposed to get like really like a Q&A. There's actually some information that I kind of wanted to just do in a video. And I'm probably going to change the title of this after the fact, especially if there are no additional questions asked. But I wanted to come on to answer a few things. And since I'm going to answer those anyway, open up the floor for any questions in regards to more so like, this is going to be about printers and sublimation and things of that nature. Well, actually, the question was about printers with sublimation and eco-solvent. I have so I do have videos where I go over these things, but one, even me trying to go and find them. I mean, I can do certain keywords, but I figured I do this because the question was asked. So I was actually just going to send her this one because I know exactly where it's at. And I'm going to answer the questions in regards to printers and what's going on with the new workforces and sublimation and eco-solvent, because that's where she is kind of trying to figure out which direction to go in. So we're going to talk about it. I was going to do my TikTok, but my tripod is out there, so I can't do it for them. I have to do it a different time. Hold on one second. Okay. All right. So I'm Shakia, the professor of HS Inc. 365. We are the home of the amazing, incredible, honestly speaking, brand of products where we currently carry sublimation ink, sublimation paper, pigment ink, and then other accessories to set up your printers. Looking to add a lot more to the honestly speaking line of products in the near future. We are also the home of Silaholics Anonymous, where I've been teaching you guys how to learn and master using Silhouette Studio as your your primary or just your starter graphic designing software. You don't need a machine in order to use Silhouette Studio. Just simply go and download the free version. You can do a lot from the free version, which my students saw today. Everything I did there, other than the properties dropper, all in the free version of Silhouette Studio. So it's absolutely amazing, especially for beginners. If you are a Cricut user, if you are a solo StarCraft, if you are a Caesar user, you can still use Silhouette Studio as a standalone graphic designing software. So check out our over 9 years of videos over on our YouTube channel, Silaholics Anonymous. We also are the home of 365 Creative Academy, where I help you to unlock your creativity in a wide variety of trainings in Silhouette, Photoshop, business, Shopify, motivation, mindset, and so much more. So you can check all of that out on our Academy site or sign up for classes through our shop site, same place you're going to buy your ink and paper from, and build up your rewards points so that you can get things, get some dollars off of the things that you're going to purchase from us anyway. So build up your rewards points. All right. I am also one who is a nerd about printers and ink settings and all that kind of good jazz. So I'm often asked questions about printers. One of the biggest things is sublimation printers. I will say this. I've done a few videos thank you for the bless yous in regards to this. Had this question been asked a few years ago, my answer would be totally different as far as what was the best printer to get to start off doing sublimation. Epson has changed up their printers a lot. They have incorporated a lot more EcoTank printers. And on the surface, it seems as if EcoTank printers are the way to go. I'm not a big advocate of EcoTank printers because so many things can happen when it comes to lines. I really don't like any printers because there's some cartridge-based printers and they're much larger. So they have like the cartridges are stationary, which means there are lines flowing through it. And that can, cause issues as well. Anytime there's a line and, you can have ink flow back up and stuff like that, it can be a recipe for a disaster. I like my desktop printers and the fact that the cartridges move with the print head. So everything is like right in line. It's really easy to get them back going if you happen to get any breaks or any air gaps and things like that. So I'm just not just not a huge fan of like the eco tanks. And the reason why they were, brought about was, to save on ink and things of that nature. But they can't, if you're just putting the ink that belongs in them, it can work out great. All of the small format and even the 15,000 and the 8550, they are dye-based printers. They are not pigmented ink printers. I've heard some people refer to them like as pigment. In the 8550, the black is photo black, and that is the only thing that is pigmented. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe in the smaller format printers, the black is also photo black for most of them. So that is the only thing that is pigmented ink, and it does not run. Everything else is dye-based ink. It's a different consistency. Therefore, if you put sublimation ink in there, one, your colors are going to be off. Two, it's not going it can clog up because it's a different density. So you have to be mindful of that. Can any EcoTank printer be used? Yes, because it is heat free. The entire line of Epson printers are piezoelectric, from the smallest ones to the large ones. They are heat free. So any of them can technically be made into a sublimation printer. She asks more specifically about the large 24-inch one. That's not technically a sublimation one. It's really just a regular printer. And she wanted to know if that could be converted. Technically, yes. You just have to find the correct, the compatible, refillable cartridges that you can put sublimation ink in, because it's slightly less expensive than the sublimation one. It's also not coming with any paper. You're going to end up paying more because now you have to get sublimation ink. So for me, in the grand scheme of things, although you are saving a little bit of money, it might be best if you have a working computer, a working printer, to just hold on to that, use it as much as you can, outsource some prints, and then just make up the difference to get the F570 if you're looking to get a 24-inch one. Converting the non sublimation ones, like I said, it can be done, but you're still going to end up spending out some money because you're going to have to get ink, and you're not going to have that startup paper. It's not the greatest, but at least it's something. If you were going to buy a different brand of paper anyway, that part, you're going to spend that money regardless. So you're only really saving on the ink that you have to buy, because that one is a different type of printer. So yes, you can convert any of the bigger ones to sublimation if you're someone selling it. There's also one that is a tank version, but it's still regular pigmented ink. Yes, you can convert those to sublimation, be able to put sublimation ink in it. Preferably, there has been no other ink in it. If it is one where you're buying it used and it was used as a regular printer, clearing out those lines is not that easy. Because once you release it, you're releasing like the pressure, the ink is going to backflow. And if you don't know how to keep that ink there and then put it on that port, it's just going to cause issues. So it's best if it's a brand new one. Now, if you want to take on the challenge of trying to convert it, for any EcoTank printer that has lines and already has the old ink in it, you can take that on, but just please note that it may not work. And you might be stuck with the clunker if Epson says, hey, you tried to put a different ink in there, because they're going to ask you for pictures. We're not going to honor the warranty. We're not going to send you a new one. Know that that is a risk to take when you are doing that. That if you happen to do something wrong, there is no repair for it, and you're just going to have a really big paperweight. Same thing goes for Eco Solvent. There's no difference in what you're going to do to make a printer sublimation versus making it Eco Solvent. It is exactly the same, exactly the same exact process. You're going to need the exact same things. If it's a cartridge base, it's going to be the same process if it's an Eco Tank type printer. What was interesting, I've never gotten this question before, was she has the printer for sublimation. She converted one of the smaller printers for some, well, no, eco. She had one of the smaller ones for an Eco Solvent printer, but with having, I'm going to sit down now. Me having like the Roland, or seeing people use the Roland printer, and she wasn't interested in doing any type of stickers or anything like that. Her question to me was, well, if anything can be made into sublimation and all these others can be made into Eco Solvent, can I make Eco Solvent? Well, can I make like an F570 an Eco Solvent printer? That way I will have a larger printer. Like she could use the 20-inch media instead of being limited to 13 inches or having to cut it down. I was like, I've never had anyone ask me that before. Technically, I mean, it could work, but your colors are going to be off. That F570 uses sublimation ink. So it's meant to process those colors in a certain type of way. If you now put a dark Eco Solvent ink in there, it could, like, your colors are going to be like way off. And then the other one, which I can't, is it like 2170 or something like that, T2170 or something like that. If you put the ink in that one, it's kind of still the same thing because those are pigment ink printers. Epson doesn't have one that is dye-based, which is going to be better for the Eco Solvent. Epson doesn't have one of those. That's a 24-inch. So although technically you can choose to not put the Epson ink in either one of those, whether it's the sublimation one or the one for regular prints, although you can technically not put the Epson ink in there and put Eco Solvent ink in it, your colors will vary, and you're going to have to really know how to adjust and change it from what you see on your screen to how it prints. You're going to really have to have a serious like color profile and changing your monitor and all of that, because your colors are going to be off. I know it's like we're wanting, like, I know the Roland is pretty pricey. It's $6,000 to be able to do the bigger printing cuts. She wanted to know she can use that printer and with the Caesar Romeo, because that's a 24-inch cutter. And felt like, she was saving a couple $1,000. Are you saving it? Yes. Will it work? Yes. Will it be the best results? Not really. If you haven't watched any of my videos where I break down the colors, yes, it's long, but you will get a full understanding. If you watch it with the intent to really understand, and you take notes, and you don't just watch it like it's entertainment, and really watch it to get an understanding, you're going to fully, like, you won't have to continue to ask those questions, because if you look at a printer, you look up the specs, if it's this type of printer, you know how it's going to work and what can and cannot be done with that particular printer. I get that we want to expand our businesses, increase our streams of income, increase our services that we can provide. Machines are made for certain reasons. The hacks can, there are hacks. They can be kind of a quick fix, but doesn't mean that you're going to get the results that you want. If you want to do bigger, Eco Solvent prints, outsource them, guys, until you can actually do it the right way. Outsource DTF prints. Sometimes trying to take the shortcuts, you're going to end up spitting out more in the long run than just kind of waiting to get to that point. Outsourcing is not a bad thing. Outsourcing is not a bad thing. If you have set your business up correctly, if you are pricing correctly, outsourcing is not going to be like, you're not going to be losing out on that much like money, because It's almost like just kind of having staff. If you haven't planned for your business to grow past you, you're not moving in the right direction anyway. Outsourcing allows you to plan out once you have more help so that you can take on more orders throughout the day, the week, the month, the year, because it's not just you. So it allows you to plan for growth in your business. Don't just disregard outsourcing. Just see it as a burden. It can be so helpful for your business. All right. So that's my little spiel. So I came on to, answer that question for her versus me trying to type it out, because I was like, I can't do this as typing it out. And if I try and do voice memos, we're going to be going back and forth. So this was me answering her question in a more detailed manner, but it also leaves the floor open for you guys to ask any questions that you have. And maybe you guys had some of those same questions. Maybe you're considering different printers to add to your services as well. But to me, outsourcing is not your work. I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you go and you get a DTF print, you have a service of making a shirt. So you can get the design. You can either make the design yourself. You actually don't even have to do that. If you go and you buy a design, that customer still doesn't know how to go source that design and how to put it on the shirt. They don't have a heat press. You're getting paid for your services, the work that you are doing to provide them a custom shirt. Whatever that cost is for that DTF, you are still going to charge them for so that you can pay the vendor. That doesn't have to be money that comes to you. Even if you have your own DTF printer, it's only a small amount that will be profit to your personal bank account, because you still have to account for the maintenance on that machine, buying the ink for that machine, buying the powder for that machine, buying the film for that machine. So when you're pricing out your orders, all of that is not profit to your personal account. It's still money that goes into the business to replenish those supplies. By you outsourcing, it's like you're paying for those supplies and you're getting used to that. Because if you're not used to that and you place an order, someone placed an order, you're getting all these orders in and you're not thinking about replenishing it, you're not planning for that part, and all the money is going to your personal bank account, then what is it like? You don't have any money left to operate your business. So when you're outsourcing, you have to think about the fact that you're paying for those same supplies that you would normally need to purchase. You're just not paying for the machine itself. When somebody else is doing it, it's freeing you up to do other things, because if you have staff, you would pay that staff. So from the profits, your business expenses to pay that employee, that's still not money that's coming to you directly. And you as the owner can focus on other things. It's about how you think about business. But if you're going to continue to think of yourself as a crafter and wanting to do everything yourself, this does not apply to you. But for those who want to run a business, a successful business, and you're not working yourself to the bone, outsourcing is very beneficial. There's no rule that says because you take an order, everything has to be from you. Do you make the shirts? Are you sewing the shirts? It's no different than you going out and buying a shirt. You're not sewing that. You're not cutting that fabric yourself and putting it together. A print is no different than buying that shirt. So, do you teach Roll and BN20 for printing vinyl? For shirts? I teach rolling. It's no specific way to do it for shirts. I mean, other than figuring out which to be the right material for different types of shirts. That's one thing. We've talked about that in a few videos. We actually have a full rolling course coming up. Of course, I use Silhouette Studio as my main software, so you're going to have to kind of learn that a little bit. And then I use Illustrator. Now, there are other things that you can use, such as Affinity or Corel Draw or Flexi. And if you get the newer one, I think it's like built in with the Connect. So I simply teach rolling. And you can apply those skills to whether you're printing adhesive vinyl and just doing a print for, like, let's say, a poster or a banner to mount it onto something. If you're going to do a print and cut for stickers, if you're going to use heat transfer vinyl, if you're going to use vinyl, like vinyl banner material, I simply teach rolling and I teach design softwares. I have made designs and have outsourced them with vinyl and DTF. Someone else is printing for you. I've heard they use cheap stuff versus what I sell. If you're not doing DTF, how is it what you sell? Now that becomes a part of you vetting who you are selling, who are you purchasing your files from. So many people are jumping onto the bandwagon of providing transfers. So many I've seen so many people like they talk about other companies. Oh, those are cheap. They're this, they're that. They crack. They do this. They do that. Oh, if you get the 15-cent ones, the 15-cent transfers are made with the exact same process, the exact same inks as the more expensive gang sheets. I never understood when people got on these social media platforms, they're saying just because it's 15 cents. This is where we get into this thing of thinking, oh, because it costs less, it has to be lower quality. And that's not the case. That is not the case every single time. I got class that are on the lower end and they are definitely not low quality. So it's about you vetting the companies, ordering samples, doing small orders with them, and doing testing, and not just going off of the word, like the word of mouth of someone else. They are giving you a suggestion for a resource. It is up to you to test that out, to order prints and see if it's going to work for you. DTF is not a subpar process. Now, if the person who was doing it, like there was this young lady on TikTok, didn't know what the hell she was doing when she got that printer. Prints all off. The white was shifted. Like it looked a hot mess.com. She did not know what she was doing. I'm glad she's no longer doing it. Working with a company like that and someone that has no idea what they're doing, yes, you don't want to work with them. But there's a lot of companies that really, really do this thing and they do it correctly. You have to research. You have to search in groups, ask questions, order samples, go see if their website has information. If someone doesn't have a website or they're not able to answer questions via email, that is a red flag. And I probably would not recommend going with them, but it doesn't mean that they have subpar. You have some people who have really large sublimation printers. My good folk over at the Blank Spot, you have a small format. They have a true sublimation printer that's going to print out larger prints. Why would, for those who want to make all over shirts, why would you tile them? And you have like the Blank Spot here in South Florida. We have I Love It Customs, located in kind of like the Broward. What is that? It's not Fort Lauderdale. It's like Fort Lauderdale area. They provide transfers for anyone that's here in South Florida. You can order the big one. You just have to worry about pressing and sections. But to go and piece it together, that's not a great use of your time. You let them print it out. You go pick it up. You can spread your shirt out, press it, and be done. Because you're going to spend a lot more time waiting for individual pieces, sheets to print out. Then you have to cut them down. Then you have to piece them together and tape it up. You're going to spend hours on one shirt. So outsourcing can be very, very beneficial for your business as long as you're ordering from the right people. That's a horrible way to think. I'm sorry to tell you, that's a horrible way to think because they're going to get to a point where this is your dream, not theirs. They're going to want to do their own thing. Now, if they are really, really, and I'm not sure the ages of them, if they are a little bit older and this is what they want to do and they want to be a part of the business and they're really working to learn it, it can be very beneficial. But relying on family because you feel like that is free labor is a bad way to think when it comes to business. And you think about your goals and how you want to grow. Just because you have your children as like staff is certain, like if they are not into designing, they don't know how to work certain computer programs, that's still more work on you. Now, if they're doing certain tasks like within the business, like being sanitation supervisor and they're cleaning up, Zani Mani works mailroom, or they're able to help you with social media and they can take on different parts of your business. If they're really great with math, they can do your bookkeeping. You can utilize your family with their strengths. But when you're talking about designing, you're doing all this stuff, it doesn't matter how many workers you have. You have a small format printer and you're trying to piece together, you and all of your staff, all of your kids are just sitting there waiting for this printer. The more people you have doesn't make that printer print faster. It doesn't make it to where you're going to cut it and slice it. Not saying that that's what you do, but this is just in general for anyone. Having staff and you don't have the equipment for that doesn't make your life easier. But outsourcing with those who have more efficient equipment can make your life so much easier. You message us on Facebook, on the website, or did you send an email? All right. Well, that information should be out soon because I didn't realize I was so close to November. I was supposed to be doing this. It was actually supposed to. It's so much going on where we're doing some things on our custom side and our print shop side to get some things going on that. So I'm split between the teaching part of it and the other side of like the business. And I didn't realize November starts next week, and I was supposed to do this thing like pretty much all of like November because it's going to be several sessions. And I was like, oh wait. So the information will come out at the beginning of next week. You sent it on my page. So like Silaholics, sometimes I don't get those messages. It's best for you to email me for things like that or send a message on the actual website. Okay, this didn't. If you have a 64-inch eco-solvent printer, this obviously doesn't apply to you. I'm talking about the ones who were trying to convert printers. That's the other thing. Like some things, it's like I'm not. Come on now. If you have a big 64-inch printer, obviously this wasn't for you. It was for the ones that want to convert and piece things together, or they don't want to buy the Roland, which was 6,000. You invested in one that's bigger than the one that I have. So that was an answer for someone who did not want to invest. Yes, if you have now, I'll say this though. Just because you have an eco-solvent printer and you're able to cut vinyl and make those transfers, that doesn't always work for certain designs, and DTF is going to be a better option, or screen print transfers is going to be a better option than allowing that to print, cutting it out, weeding it, then masking each one of those. So for an eco-solvent print, you have to remember that each one of those has to be masked. You're either going to use up a lot of masking where you can mask each individual one, or if you want to save on material, you're going to have like some of them masked, you'll press it and you're trying to put the mask back over it and try and reuse it a couple times, or we're only say like one time, depending on like the colors that are on it. So that's a little bit different for those who want to do bigger. Like she just wants to be able to do like the full 20-inch roll that the media comes in. So that's using the 24-inch printer to then use the Caesar Romeo. That's different. So for her, it's like, is this a better option than me paying $6,000 for the Roland 20-inch printer? So it's a little bit different. I understand you're commenting on the outsourcing. So you would not outsource eco-solvent prints. You have a printer that can do larger eco-solvent prints, but you don't have a DTF printer. So if DTF is going to work better, it's going to be more time efficient and just efficient in general to order DTF prints than doing eco-solvent. If you have a whole bunch of orders, your printer can only print so much, but you need to fulfill another order. Don't discredit outsourcing to maybe somebody that has another eco-solvent printer or someone that does DTF. DTF is it's a quality product. I use DTF. So don't think that DTF is a lower quality than using eco-solvent. Some people don't like the feel. If it's a really, really large design, if it's a solid design, printable vinyl is going to feel too heavy. It's going to feel plasticky, and some people don't like the way that feel. Whereas DTF, or even someone that can do DTG, is going to have a slightly better hand feel to it. Each method has its benefits in the garment decorating industry. I'm trying to figure out what to do with this converted 7820. Seems like bringing it back to a regular printer is my only option. So that was the other thing. I mean, it wasn't a part of her question, but I've gotten a lot of questions about these. So when they first came out, I mean, I did the video and I was like, oh wow, I really like the way that this prints. I was not expecting when those printers first came out, if you wanted to convert them, you had to buy Epson cartridges, take the chips off, and put them on the refillable cartridges. Some people did not like that if they were using premium matte because it ran out the ink very fast. Now, if you're using art paper and you're using plain paper setting, that ink is going to last you a lot longer than those who are using premium matte. You can also get the XL, but then, it was the complaint of, oh my God, they're expensive. I mean, pretty much right now, everything is expensive, but how do you price? Just because it costs more than buying a third-party bottle of ink, if you are pricing your items correctly and not going off of what somebody else is charging, you have to price based off of your equipment and what it costs to operate your equipment and operate your business. You can't go off of someone else. If your thought process is, well, I want to stay competitive, I want to be cheaper than them, or I want to be the same price as them, then that's going to be you losing money out on your business, trying to run your business based off of how somebody else runs theirs. You have to run your own race. You got to run your own business and price according to your business, your overhead, your operations cost. Okay. So that's how you had to convert them. You had to buy the Epson cartridges, take off the chips, and basically just toss away that cartridge. Once they finally came out with the third-party chips that you can just slip on and they're a little less expensive, it's like, okay, great. We're going to be able to do this the same way that we did with the old workforce. We're going to be able to save money. We don't have to buy cartridges that are either $13 and they're finished like this, or we're buying XLs, but we're paying 3 times the amount or 2 times the amount and getting 3 times the ink. So the chips come out, we're able to get going a little bit more economically. It's like it doesn't cost as much. But the way Epson set their printers up, they are not like the other chips where you can put a chip reset and keep using the same one over and over and over again. You have to purchase new chips every single time. And we got lucky when I first started it that all of our chips always worked. I never had an issue until I had an issue. Then I realized that there was an issue. Before I used to always say, oh, don't worry about doing the firmware update. I had done the firmware update on my workforce printers so many times. It never affected the chips because they just work no matter what, because you're just resetting them. The way Epson designed their newer printers, if you do the firmware update, those chips, some chips won't work on the newer firmware update. You would have to roll it back. So in this instance, yes, I kept telling people to avoid the firmware update. Well, sometimes it's not that you can avoid it. If you're just getting into the game and you go buy an Epson printer right now, it's automatically going to have the newer firmware update, because they're not going to keep, if they have an update, now they're producing new printers, it's going to have the new firmware update on it. So your chips are not going to work right out of the box. So you have to then roll it back. Either find it yourself, or we were providing that rollback for those who purchased their chips or cartridges from us. We are not just providing it all free and willy-nilly to anyone because, hey, you're not supporting us, so why would we help you? Like, I mean, that's just business. But you have to roll it back. We assumed that because the old workforce, there was a true continuous ink system. There was, auto reset or chips that can be reset. There were chip resetters for it. There was chipless firmware plugins that you could do, that eventually this printer will have it as well. Well, the way that Epson has set this one up, it's not, it's an individual serial number for each one, so you can't just reset it. The continuous ink system is basically resettable chips, like just on the front of them. So since that is not an option, yes, you can purchase the continuous ink system, but you still have to keep changing out the chips. There's no way around it. So after finding that out, I said, well, maybe within a year, we'll give them time to figure it out. And maybe they'll figure out a way to make these a resettable chip. Maybe they'll have a continuous ink system. Maybe we'll get a chipless firmware. Well, that was over a year and a half ago. And according to my manufacturer, it's just not going to happen. With the way that Epson has made these newer workforce printers, it's just not going to happen. So we haven't even purchased new chips because we don't know which firmware you're working on. We order it, every once in a while to see if it's compatible. I go through the process of updating my firmware, seeing if the chips work. If they don't work, all right, I'm rolling back to my old one and I'm not ordering chips. So we order chips from them periodically and then we test them. Until they work on the new firmware, we're not going to have them back on our website because some of y'all don't know how to take accountability for the fact that you want to convert. You wanted a cheaper option. A cheaper option is not always going to be best. It may not work, and it ain't our fault that they don't work. I've explained that it doesn't work. It's not that, oh, we have bad chips. No, they're not compatible with that particular firmware. So you have to do a rollback. We only have a rollback if you're using the 7820, 7840. We haven't found one for the 7310 because we don't own a 7310 to where we had that original one. And we also can't find it like anywhere. And I don't know how to do the system to make it do what it do. So we can't help anyone with the 7310. If you make it into a regular printer, you're going to be back to the point of buying Epson cartridges. It has nothing to do with the ink that is in there. It has everything to do with the chips. So if you still want it as a sublimation printer, or if you want to just use it with the Epson chips, you can leave it with sublimation ink. You're going to buy those Epson cartridges anyway. You're just going to harvest the chips off of them. The ink will become waste. If you take it back to a regular printer, you're going to still have to buy those cartridges, but it's like now you're using the chips and the ink. So if you feel like you don't want to throw away ink, then yes, go back to a regular one and then use the Epson cartridges for your printer. You keep saying page. So you mean my Facebook page? Oh, wait, you keep saying page. So you sit on my Facebook page. So you can go to our website, shop.hsink365.com, and send a message there. As far as like where you would, how you would sign up. But if you just go to our website, so what you're going to more so email us for is like the dates that you want to. We're just going to verify like the dates. We don't want anyone to ever purchase a one-on-one session. You haven't talked to me, because if you go and do it and you're expecting to have a one-on-one session in an hour and I'm not available, like that's not on me. So we ask that you message to make sure that, you know, our schedules are lined up for when you need the session. But all you have to do is go on the website and type in help in the search and the option, and you can see the prices for the 101 session. She says, I love DTF. Do you print in-house or do you outsource? Can you take a group of edit points and move them as one, like side to side, up and down? Hold down shift and select them. Thank you. We don't sell them anymore, but as long as you were on the older firmware, they work. But anyone that's on the newer firmware, they're not going to work for them. And as far as email, you can send it to any of the HS Inc. 365.com. You can send it to the professor at hsink365.com. You can send it to info@hsink365.com or admin at hsink365.com. Any of them will get to us. I just came in. No, we're not getting any chips we're not ordering any more chips as of now. We order them and we test them. And if they don't work on the new firmware, we do not order them. So we haven't had them in a while. It's just too much. It's too much of a headache. I mentioned that a while ago that we weren't ordering any more of those until it was compatible with the latest firmware. And you outsource. See, outsourcing is great. I just brought a white toner printer. Wow, it's lots more. Yeah, and see, for me, some people get white toner printers and they're instantly thinking about, okay, it makes it great for shirts. I plan to get one, but I'm not using mine for shirts. It's so many other things that it can be used for. And there's so many other options for shirts. There's some unique things about using a white toner for other kinds of projects. So when we get our white toner, I'm not doing. I have vowed to, just because we can have it. I don't even know if I'm gonna tell y'all when we get it, because I really don't want to answer questions or feel like I have to teach a class with every machine that I get. So when we get our white toner, y'all may not even know when we get our white toner printer, because I'm not doing any videos on marrying A and B to do for shirts. I'm not doing them at all, because that's not what I purchased mine for. Right, I'm thinking just to use it as a regular printer and use the chips on the Epson cartridges till my HS is gone, and then use the Epson, because doing that seems a lot more costly, but keep in mind that my prices will need to go up. And it's really like, when you really break it down, the cost, like if you break down like how much the cartridges cost, like what the price difference is, it shouldn't make your prices like be like $5 extra, for getting a chip compared to getting that cartridge. Like, it's really not. It's $20 more. So if you're taking $20 and you're breaking it up over how many orders you can fulfill with that, you might be like literally adding on an additional 50 cents. But it also comes down to how you are pricing. This is why I have pricing for profit by the numbers, because I find so many crafters are looking at their receipts amount and like what's at the bottom of that, and not really calculating how it then affects your business. $20, a $20 difference in a chip and ink, it may seem like quite a bit, but how long is it going to last? How many things are you really going to be able to do with that? So it might be a 50-cent jump. It shouldn't be this significant jump as far as like price increases. And now it goes up $1. I mean, unless that cartridge only gets you 20 prints, it really shouldn't go up by $1. What do I think of the F-150? I have no idea what an F-150 is. I know there's an F-170 and an a 570 and a 170. I don't know anything about an F-150. Let me look that up. That's like the newer one, F-150. Yeah, I know a 570 and a 170. I don't know what a 150 is. I've never heard of that one. Oh, 170. I mean, it's a printer. It's made for sublimation. The settings, of course, are different than the EcoTank one. So you'd have to find someone that has that and they're going over the settings for it. But it's a sublimation printer. It's made by Epson. So, of course, it's going to be a quality printer. If you are tired of, your colors being off with these 2800s, 2400s, 4800 series, add an extra $100. The 170 is 8.5 inches wide as far as print. You can still print longer. So you're just going to spend an extra $100 to have more accurate colors, but it's a quality printer. And you should not have backups because it's made to handle the density of sublimation ink. I mean, doing a whole nother sublimation class. Not quite sure because. Oh, you're here. Do you mean the one here in house? Well, we're changing. If you're talking about because you're in Miami and doing the one here, we're having to rearrange some things in the office. So once we kind of figure that out, then we'll have the in-person ones. As far as those who just want to take it online, we do have you have access to the playback of the one that's on our website. So can't say when we're going to do another like straight live sublimation class. And I really feel like I go over so many things like in the free videos. Not sure if it's really warranted to do a whole nother like dedicated class. I end up doing live videos. I'm always answering questions. Now me doing it in a live video and just talking about sublimation, it becomes kind of like a lead magnet and to talk about our paper. So I don't know if we'll end up doing like a full-on sublimation class again. The next one is the 24-inch. Epson does not have an 11 or 13-inch one because of patent reasons. So the next one up from the 170 is the 570, which is the 24-inch printer. Let me see if my student is ready for her one-on-one session, because I was just killing time, but she did tell me she was going to be a little bit late. So she messaging me. I see it going. All of our classes are, I've never had a class that doesn't have a playback. So everything that we do, there is a playback for it. So yes, the study halls, you can sign up for those at any time and you'll just watch the playbacks. About another sublimation class? I don't think, not probably about sublimation. If I did, it was probably about it being local or the fact that like certain classes will go on sale. But I don't remember saying like a new one because we've done it so many times and I'm always online talking about, sublimation. You always give more than we pay for in your classes. All y'all better do the challenges and get the 30-day. Thank you. Oh, wait, I wanted to see. Somebody else did that. Can y'all let me know, does anything happen when I do this? Somebody else, and it looks, I thought she was using StreamYard, and it's like she did this and a bunch of hearts came out. I don't know if it does it, like it was a certain thing that she's using. I think when she did this, it made like a thumbs up thing come up, but I don't see it on my side because we don't see it. But on the playback, it was like making hearts come out. And I was like, how did that do that? And I know she's using StreamYard. It's like, that's pretty cool. But I don't know if it does anything on my side. All right, my one-on-one. So it has to be that she was using an Apple. Well, she wasn't on a phone. She was on StreamYard. So that's if you do that and she was using a Mac, the Mac would do that. Oh, okay. I'm going to try that one day for my husband. I'm going to go on StreamYard from my husband's computer and see if it'll do that. But yeah, I know she doesn't have an iPhone. Well, she wasn't going live from an iPhone. But she did have a Mac. So, okay. That's where that comes from. I thought that was pretty cool. Well, I'll never get it because, baby, I am team Windows. Okay. I am team PC. I love my Dell. All right. So any iOS device. Okay. I have not updated my firmware. We'll have to hunt for some or just get your black pigment ink and use Epson chips and use Epson colors, unfortunately. Yeah, that will be until they have one that's compatible with the new firmware. Oh, the other thing that someone asked me, I guess there's one that's showing on Amazon that says Workforce 7840 or 78, 7840. That's been out for a while and it doesn't work. The chip resetter does not work if the chip cannot be reset. That chip cannot be reset. It is a single-use chip. So that resetter, I mean, y'all can buy it. We don't sell it because we already know it doesn't work. But you can buy it and try it if you want to. But if that was the case, our vendor would have let us know that, hey, we've now figured out like a chip resetter. But they are single-use chips. I cannot just recommend like one. It's so many parameters and so many factors when it comes to what type of computer you're going to use. So for me, I basically had mine built. That's one thing I love about Dell is when you go on their site, I've never gone into a store for any of our business or design ones and just purchased whatever was there. I've always basically built it out. So we go on Dell, you choose what type of memory you want, what type of hard drive you want, what type of graphics card you want. So you basically just make all those changes and it, adds to the price and it builds the price. So I've built mine in that manner where I kind of select all of the upgrades or start with like the one that they have and change certain things. So I'm a Dell girl. And so that's how I do mine. Anything outside of that, it's best to speak with a computer tech who either builds them. If you're going to get, if you want to get an HP or LG or whatever it is, speak with a tech. A lot of times, if you're just going in store, it's pre-made. You cannot change it. You want to order it from a site that will allow you to customize it, and you have to wait for it to be built and those components to be put in it. Any printer, I mean, any computer where you're able to literally order it and take it away from the store, if it's not a computer type store and they've built these, it may not be ideal for graphic designing. Yes, you can reset the 7720, the 7820, 7840, and 7310, which uses the 812 cartridges, cannot be reset. The 252s can still be reset. Team Dell, that's right. Yes, we actually have. Oh, maybe it was that I was going to put it back on there. I don't know if it was, maybe it didn't show on the website. So maybe that's what I said. Because I think when I was going through them, I was like, oh, wait, it was a certain class that was missing from like showing on the website. We had a 6-day sublimation seminar. We had a 4-day boot camp where we had a sublimation class, which my husband just went through. That was like 4 hours. He's actually watching that one now. Then there is the 6-day seminar, and then there was like a boot camp version of it that was supposed to be like less days. And I think when I was going through them, they weren't on there. So maybe that's what I said. Like I will put that. But yes, we have several classes on sublimation, and it's not just sublimation. Sublimation in of itself is not hard. You get a heat press, you get sublimation ink, paper, you know what substrate you have to have, you're going to press it. If you're using art paper, I mean, it's the easiest thing ever. I press everything, literally everything, except for slate, ceramics, glass, and acrylic. Everything else, I press at 365, 30 seconds. No guesswork to anything. It doesn't matter if it is MDF. Well, here we go. If it's a shirt, if it is metal, if it is a puzzle, if it is, well, no, this was a little bit less. This is vinyl. That's a little bit less. If it is a towel, doesn't matter. I press all of that. 365, 30 seconds, because that's what I've dialed in for this particular heat press. If you're a heat press, if you get a shirt and it works at, let's say, 365 for 40 seconds or 45, or you have to go to maybe 370 for 30 seconds or 40 seconds. If you've dialed that in and you know exactly what you have to put your heat press on, that's going to work for 93.65% of your substrates. And then, of course, your slates and things like that, you just have to figure that out. Like for me, for slates, 365, 2 minutes, whereas the industry average is about 5 to 6 minutes. So using our paper shaves off quite a bit of time. Glass, same thing. It cuts down the time. But as far as like pressing anything, you just do the same thing. Now, the part that becomes a little bit more complicated is not just for sublimation. It's how to design for anything. So if you have something like this, well, how do I go and create this type of design? How do I get it to fit exactly in here where, you know, there's this little strip along the side, making it in by putting in the middle? That's where all of our design classes come in at. And it's best to really, focus it like, get laser focus on understanding designs and your design softwares and how to set up templates and things like that. Understanding, if something goes wrong. So it's like the troubleshooting component of it, where I talk about, okay, if you see these lines, is this, is that, but I can only really talk about it from a workforce perspective, because now so many people are using EcoTanks. I can't help you with that. Like there's no easy fix for EcoTank printers. That's one of the reasons why I kind of don't want to do like the sublimation, because people start asking, okay, well, what happens when something happens to my printer? I can't help you. EcoTanks are not easy to fix. And, just design programs and just understanding what you can sublimate to, understanding the full on process. I've shown tumblers so many times. As I said, I know that we're going to do one in-house so that I can physically see how people are wrapping their tumblers or how they're closing the heat press. But online, I do so many demos like all the time. you really get it, unless, the seminar goes through a lot of like intricate details, but I don't know that I will do that again. It's just going to be sign up for that one because that information will never change. It's true the only paper I use. Correct. Same way. Go to the shop site, you purchase it, it's going to end up on your dashboard. HS Ink paper is the bomb diggity. Loving your teaching method. You are excellent. Thank you so very much. Thank you for the Q&A. I always get valuable information. With the workforce, if the black looks brown, where should I start to fix it? You have our ink and your black looks brown. When you press it, you got HS Ink, black ink. And when you press it, it's looking brown. And you're pressing it at 365 for 30 seconds or 40 seconds. What are you pressing it at? Oh, you don't have my ink. Well, that's your problem. Other companies, oh my God, why did I just looked at, I'm always looking at the camera. I never look at the replay, and I didn't realize my lips were starting to chap up. Oh, you have to get our ink. So yeah, that's probably going to be the issue for you. The ink that you are using, all inks are not created equal. They are sublimation ink in that once they are heated, they will gas off. They will transfer to a sublimation polyester or poly-coated substrate, but they are not all equal. They are not equal. So I would suggest maybe go to the website and purchasing you some ink. And that will eliminate that. So where should you start with fixing it? Heading over to shop.hsink365.com, clicking on the top tab that says Sublimation Ink, going down to the individual bottles and purchasing at least just the black ink, or you can go to the full set and order a full set of ink. It's the ink that you're using. Everyone get her products. They are a lifesaver. We worked hard on our formula. So yeah, I cannot help you with somebody else's product and why it's coming out brown. It's their product. Man, I don't know. Lips are so chapped. I need to find me someone that sells Avon. Avon has this like lip scrub thing, and it was amazing. Like, it has like it allows you, like, it exfoliates and takes off the dead skin. Not Avon. Mary Kay, not Avon. I gotta find me. I don't know if my cousin still sells it, but I missed that for my lips. I gotta get me a Mary Kay consultant and get that lip scrub thing because oh my God, it was amazing. I just think I need to exfoliate. It's been a while. Because I mean, my lips are staying chapped like crazy, and I don't know what's going on. So I gotta exfoliate my lips. All righty. Until next time, guys. Have a great one. Let me start my one-on-one session. Continue to. I have no. Who is Yonique? Who that is? I don't know who that is. Who is that? You pull your dry skin off. Yeah, don't do that. But the Mary Kay one, it's like a 2-part thing. And I remember my friend Cookie when she was selling it, and then my cousin used to. And man, that stuff is absolutely amazing. Probably need to find out if Cookie still sells it. Because it's amazing. Oh, that Mary Kay lip scrub is absolutely divine. But yeah, message me and let me know who you're referring to. Because if my connect don't have it, I'm gonna holler at them because I need it. All right, y'all. For real, until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity. Visit shop.hsink365.com. It is Saturday, so all orders between now and Sunday will go out on Monday.